That's correct.
Well, this is going to be a good one, and I know it will be good because we get to listen to you guys. Enjoy.
Aw, thank you, Shiver. She's talking more to me than you.
I know.
Catherine.
I know.
As we have game number 1 underway of this best of 3 between Spirit and Falcons. Been looking forward to this since we saw the schedule yesterday, Cinderin. Very high quality Dota to come. Jenkins teased us with the hour-long game guarantee in this series at some point. I hope that's true.
I think that is not going to be this one, though.
Game 1, you mean?
Yeah, I don't think this individual game is likely to go an hour. Because when I look at these two lineups, I know Falcons can play this ultra late game, but I think if Spirit win this game, they will win it before then, most likely. I've got this feeling that unless Falcons crush the Ursa lane, the mid game of Team Spirit looks extremely potent and powerful. But if Falcons can weather the storm and overcome that part of the game, I think they'll finish the game before the hour mark and they will come out the victors.
Right.
I think the scaling potential of the Dire lineup is crazy good, but that's not to say that Spirit can't play this one late game, but I just don't think it's the plan. I think if they execute to the level that they have so far in this tournament, they're going to hit their stride in the mid game and really take it over. And here's the thing, Shannon. Razor has been picked once this tournament, I think, and it did win.
Okay.
I don't know if this lane is Razor favored, actually. I need to see it play out because Jakiro Ursa, usually Razor against melee heroes in lane is very good, but Ursa is one of the only melee heroes that can actually kill you even when he gets linked because Fury Swipes just stacks up enough. Jakiro has 2 strong slows to help you stick on your target together with Earthshock. And if Razor does not come out ahead in this lane, I wonder, is the pick even that valuable? Of course, it's Falcons, you know. Their bread and butter Razor is a classic. But, well, it remains to be seen if they can pull this off in that lane. So far, we're going to see the lane matchups. It will be the Jakiro plus Ursa against Razor Rubik, as expected. The panel is talking about how Rubik could potentially counterplay this lane with a well-timed telekinesis when Ursa goes aggressive. And the mid lane, Tiny against Slardar, I think should probably just be a draw for the most part, but curious to see if that is the case. And then up top, we've got the Muerta Mag against Dragon Knight Maiden. Not the most potent lane offensively, the DK Maiden, but very strong defensively. You've got a tanky carry with the Glacial Guard facet of Maiden. Should be rather tough for them to find kills up there. So I guess all in all, what I'm getting at here, I think the lanes for the most part should just kind of go even. And then the question is whether Falcons will be able to hit their stride in that mid game when all 3 of their cores should hopefully for them be online. Got the 2-minute water runes coming up. Neither mid laner rocking a bottle right now, by the way, so I guess Laurel's is coming out soon.
I'm back, Cinderin. Thanks for the solo cast. Really appreciate that.
Yeah.
You're the best in the business. As Amar, well, he was getting gone on. He's very low. Like you said, this could potentially be a rough lane for him. We'll see.
Yeah, that's a little bit. I think that was a great showcase of the potential issue in this bot lane. Because I think Rubik is a really weak support, actually.
Snaking.
Stage.
He's actually going to get sniped by Rue. That auto attack range is absurd, and that's going to be first blood for Team Spirit. We talked about Rue and his Muerta play in general. Expecting great things again from him because I've seen nothing to suggest that he can even play poorly on this hero.
I think this guy is the most improved player in the last year in the pro scene. I think when he came into Spirit, people were like, ah man, is Rue the one? Has he really got it? You know, they were comparing him obviously to Mira beforehand.
Yeah.
I think he has stepped up massively, and he's playing such an elite level 4 now that you couldn't, like, if you went back and watched his replays from when he joined this team, you'd be like, wow, it's night and day. So you give a player enough time, you give him the right opportunities and the right teammates, and he's really shining now. It's been very impressive to watch his progression.
So I want to quickly talk about Slardar, because we're seeing a ton of Slardar mid, which is extremely unusual. Is it a lot of it have to do with, I would think it's 2 things, the river, the water being everywhere, but also the fact that there's so many tanky heroes being played in general.
Exactly. I think those are the 2 main parts meta-wise here. Most of the matchups mid for Slardar are good. and yeah, the tankiness like you talked about. Now, I will say in the previous series where we saw 2 of these Slardars run by AVULUS, they ran both of them into a Baton, which I personally am not a fan of. I think AVULUS did not draft Slardar under the ideal conditions, and that's even when they were last picking it. Falcons first picked Slardar here. They obviously treat it as a flex. Malrine plays it, Amar plays it, and I think they've even run it on Skitter once or twice too. So
I mean, that's the Falcon specialist.
Exactly.
Everything is a flex with them.
They gravitate toward cores in every meta, it seems, that they can play on all 3 of their heroes or players because they know how big of a draft advantage that is.
Yeah.
But it also requires you to develop a very specific, like, in theory, it is just flat out an advantage, but all your players need to have a very wide shared hero pool, and you need to be good as a team at playing around the different play styles that the heroes bring to the table depending on position, because it's not always just going to be the same thing where, oh, it's the same hero in a different lane. The timings will be different, the lane matchups will be different, so it just takes a lot of practice, but I think it's a very big part of why Falcons won a lot of the tournaments that they did is that drafting of their cores, in particular Laurel. There's some pressure here. Malrine really diving in deep here into the tower, trying to deny him CS. And mission accomplished.
Yeah,
I was saying, I thought this lane was going to be somewhat of a draw. So far, Malrine is showing Laurel who's boss.
Yeah. Slardar against melee heroes generally favors well for Slardar, but you do have to worry about the toss back, especially if there's any rotations to come. But I guess putting this series a little bit more in perspective, these are 2 of the 4 teams, I believe, remaining that are undefeated in this Swiss group stage. I've really been enjoying, we've been getting a little bit more Swiss every now and then for this last year in particular. I've really been enjoying the formats versus the usual that we've been seeing for so many years.
Yeah, I had my concerns about the format with, okay, well, the teams are playing a maximum of 5 games, so how much is it going to matter which teams you draw into? Where the Swiss has been used in Counter-Strike for a very long time, right? Hang on, we'll wait with that. Radon being chased down, walking the dog here is Amar, walking the bear.
Plasma field is enough, so
That's
they get the trade. Absolutely.
So in CS, they've played Swiss for much longer than we've been using it actively in Dota, and I felt like it makes a ton of sense in CS because I think the team-to-team matchups maybe would matter less than in Dota, where you could be like, well, if you draw the specific teams in this format, do you feel like, you know, essentially, can you get an unlucky draw, right? That ruins everything. And I don't, the more I watch this and the more we play through it, I think the better the format actually turns out to be, especially because it's best of 3s. So the variance of the value of what you draw into, it's just such a net positive that every game matters.
Oh boy, Amar, Crit is there with the telekinesis. Actually brings the bear back into tier 1 range. Malrine, he has the corrosive haze, and that's going to just amplify the damage from Amar.
All right, well, this answers my questions about that bot lane. Will it work? It did. This is already now where Falcons want to be on Amar. And I love the TP from Slardar. I know Malrine didn't connect at all, but if he doesn't TP, they dive the Razor. So this was a flat-out defensive TP. And even if your mid-hero has to do that sometimes, it can really pay off in a big way. So good start here for Falcons. All 3 cores are enabled.
Yeah, Amar level 6 and Yatoro still level 4, just to give you an idea.
Yeah, that's the biggest win for Falcons right now, is definitely that bottom lane.
And this is a hero that needs time to get online. I mean, this is, the Ursa needs a Battle Fury, and once you get that, you still don't really want to fight. Need to farm up at least a defensive item like a BKB or something of the likes.
Oh, they see snaking. He is going to be cooked and frozen at the same time.
Yep,
as
he is
Jakiro
in between
does.
A dual-headed dragon and a dead wench, as Yatoro will come in for the kill. Getting a nice little snack for himself. He's about to hit level 5 now, but
yeah,
this tier 1 tower is still quite healthy, so they'll probably remain here for a bit.
This was very valuable. This ward that Spirit had by their gate effectively got them a kill and a D ward. And that's a massive help for Radon, who was starting to, as we talked about, struggle a little bit here. After the first few minutes, that is somewhat of a recovery. I haven't talked too much about top lane. I feel like that's just a lane that plays itself. It's Dragon Knight against Magnus. They're going to hit creeps and maybe drop a voice line once in a while if they're feeling bored with that.
Yeah,
that's
of course.
Pretty much what's going to happen up there, and that's why all the supports have just left the premises, because it's like, what's the point?
Well, I mean, I guess the thing we can talk about is the facets that have been taken, which these ones are not unusual at all based on what we've been seeing lately, but the Dragon Knight going for the Corrosive Dragon. So the push potential, the minus armor to go along with Slardar and the physical damage of the Razor as well.
Yeah, I mean, this was the exact strategy you were talking about 2 days ago that you wanted to see.
Yep,
was the Slardar plus green DK.
The fact that you remember that and I didn't is
that's
testament to my old age and dementia to come.
I don't think you can blame on that. It's just like general intelligence.
All right, I'm a moron.
Yep. There we go.
Thanks, Cinderin. Meanwhile, Malrine.
Speaking
in
of
the waterway.
What?
Well, Slardar as a hero must be low intelligence.
That's true. That is very true. He has a 1.5 int gain.
Yeah, it's pretty low.
They say everyone gets smarter with age, but for some people it doesn't get you very far. Slardar is one of those.
True.
Troll, the dumbest hero in the game, of course, which really fits with his ult.
Well, what about Huskar? He literally doesn't have... Wait, is it that he doesn't have mana or he doesn't have int?
Oh.
Or both, perhaps.
Good question. He does have 1.5 int gain.
Oh.
So he has the same as Slardar.
Interesting. What's the point of that?
Well, he still gets the secondary benefits.
Yeah, I guess.
Right?
Yeah. Good old Huskar. All right, well, Malrine has this shield rune right now. He
wants to fight.
Will want to fight. Doesn't really have a way to initiate other than just the sprint right now. Blink Dagger's still a ways away.
Maxing out. It looks like he'll go 4-4-1.
10-minute rune, though.
It's a lot of sense.
Oh, there's going to be a collision here. Laurel gets off the Avalanche. Again, it's a really tough target to go on with the Macropyre used. Dead shot to bring him back, but Malrine is A-OK. Hey, they got through that rune at the very least. Illusions taken by Laurel.
Good proof of concept, though, because this was going to be a kill without the rune.
Yeah,
they overkilled him by 200 or 300 damage there if the rune wasn't in play. Malrine and Snaking will get to work together.
I mean, this is something interesting. That they don't really have the greatest stack killers. They're okay-ish. As Crit gets taken out, apparently.
Yeah,
but
this
like
is
the Dragon Knight's not going to have the AoE.
About this. That's true. Yeah.
But they do have plenty of stacks in that triangle. We'll see how much damage Spirit can do to this tier 1 tower.
What if you go Battle Fury on green DK, Shannon? What do you think?
Yeah, in range form, that's going to be very good.
What if it worked?
Then the hero is designed poorly.
Wouldn't be the first time we had that.
Yes, this is true.
This mid tower is gone. They're actually unable to defend. The big wave plus the heroes that Spirit have brought, this is a pretty big deal, getting this mid at 11.
Oh, yeah.
Not only do they open up the passageway here, but Falcons are also still somewhat trying to defend, which means Radon is getting a lot of space bottom that he really needs after that poor start to the laning stage. So, despite things not quite going according to plan for Spirit, the game is still now dead even.
Yeah,
the gold.
And I think more space is going to be created for your Toro relatively soon because Blink Dagger is going to be here for Collapse. And I mean, we did mention he's playing Magnus. This is the Magnus player.
Yeah.
If you think of Magnus, this is the first player that comes to mind. And Blink Dagger not too far away for Laurel as well. So we're going to have double Blink initiation. Ursa could potentially, I mean, it is a hero that can participate in fights if you set him up early on. But still. Going for that Battle Fury, of course.
I love the itemization from Amar, by the way. I think this is such a good
Yules
game. Yeah, we see Amar buy this sometimes on his Razor. He has like 3 or 4 different build paths. I think Yules is probably the one he goes less frequently, but you're playing against Ursa and Magnus. These are 2 heroes that Yuling is incredibly powerful against. If you see Magnus preparing a Blink RP, you can precast the Yules to cover your bases. If Ursa uses his ult, you just Yule him off, and status resistance doesn't work against Yules, which is the primary benefit of that item against that hero. Koshka will cook the bottom lane TP out away from this. So yeah, I love that for the Razor here, and it looks like Amar is debating between fast BKB and Sanjin Yasha, and I think you want both. So now it's just a matter of what's the order. But it's like I
feel like we've been seeing a lot of people go for BKB later and then regret it.
Yeah.
It looks
I mean,
like he'll
you
be
have to get
first.
it this game, surely, right? Look at the lineups. You just need something to protect you from Jakiro, Tiny Muerta. Sure, you can still get RP'd, but that's like a secondary concern that your team has to play around and protect you from Ursa when you're RP'd. BKB negates the other heroes a ton. So many stacks. I feel like we're just playing PvE. We're playing Angel Arena. Everybody's just trying to buy as many tomes of agility as they can here. Now, this doesn't look that crazy, the 12 to 11 stacks, but I want to say about half of these are ancients. So It is a lot of gold in these stacks. We just saw Radon clear out an Ancient stack with the help of Collapse's Empower, plus his own ult. And because of that, Radon's Battle Fury will now be complete. He died twice in lane, and he has 1330 Battle
Fury. The beauty of Empower, man.
That is honestly an insane timing. I'm kind of in disbelief he pulled this off, and I know...
We'll get the skewer onto Snaking. He's gonna certainly die, but Malrine and Skeeter are in the vicinity. As you can see, the ult from Jakiro is placed to give Collapse a little bit of space. He's actually showing off that he does have the RP, so don't come near.
The spell that Crit wants this game is not this one. He wants to steal Ice Path, and if he manages to do that, he will not replace it for anything else than RP. I think this is a big part of the reason that Falcons pick this is specifically because they know how busted Ice Path is as a spell. Now, you don't get, correct me if I'm wrong, you don't get the Facet version, right? Or was that the change?
I think the change was you do get it.
You do get the Facet version.
I could be wrong on this, Cinder. I'm not the analyst here, but I do believe.
I remember reading this. This is a 738 thing on Rubik, I think. Because you get the Shard version if you have Shard, you get the Ags version if you have Ags, but the Facet, I think you also get now?
Yes, I think so. Laurel, he's going to find one with the Avatos into the Muerta call as well. Dead shot. Amar in a lot of trouble. He's slowed to a crawl. He's going to get Sans on his way out, but Skewer to try and finish off the job, and Team Spirit eventually get it, and this is going to lead to the Tormentor. Now, the question is, does Falcons want to try to contest? I mean,
it's hard without their strongest hero. Razor is the guy you want for this. They are going to try regardless.
I mean, you can try to delay somehow. They don't have...
Spirit don't have Radon. It's a 4-on-4, actually. Malrine finds an angle.
He does. Corrosive Haze onto Collapse. He's going to get Frostbite after the fact. Toss. Looks like Malrine going to try to reset. The Avalanche is going to clip Snake King. Ice Path to follow. And he's going to get skewered into the arms of the rest of Team Spirit. So they get the support kill. Numbers advantage still the way of Team Spirit. Well, I say that, but like you said, Radon's still not in the area.
Honestly, it's difficult to approach Spirit if they're set up with the heroes that Falcons have without BKB right now. You can just get long-range artillery to death, right? Ice Path, Skewer, Dead Shot into the Calling. So if you show on Vision and Spirit get the jump, you're playing a lineup without saves and without BKBs. You saw the Maiden there. She died from fog. Basically, nobody even had to show to kill her.
Amar, he's going to show himself. Spirit looking to pounce. There's the Skewer back. Do they have the damage? Avalanche to the Calling as well. Dead shot. Goodbye, Amar. But they still want to fight it, apparently. He does have a buyback. I'm not sure if he actually wants to get back into the game here. But either way, Collapse gets traded. So Falcons somehow, despite not having the numbers, able to get one. And that is a failed initiation from Laurel. He's already at half HP, and the Breathe Fire doing so much damage, and the Fade Bolt finishes the job. And now the rest of Team Spirit on the run. Maposhka is food, as Malrine will get credit for that one. You can just see how much damage the Breathe Fire does with all this minus armor. It is insane.
It hits hard.
And some way, somehow, Falcons secure themselves the first Tormy.
Yeah, this is really, really good news for them. Just the first trade-off of the mag for the Razor is okay, actually, for Spirit, but
that's a good shard,
The blink in from Laurel, I think Laurel thought he had toss ready, but it was on cooldown for 1 second, and then he got, like, effectively just got caught from that. He was trying to go for a blink toss play, then ends up, oh man, my toss isn't ready for another second. He has to Avalanche in desperation, and then he's just caught off. So that was really big for Falcons. This is going to swing the game a little bit now in their favor with that Tormentor. And we'll get it onto Crit, so they have the save telekinesis. Kind of cool against Mag, to be honest.
Oh yeah.
If you're clutch with that, if someone gets RP'd, maybe you can lift them out and save them before they get skewered, or I actually don't know how it works if you telekinesis an ally while they're being skewered. Which one takes priority? If you can toss them out, or if the bus keeps driving.
I'm not sure. I know Hook from Pudge has the priority always. Yeah, that's a good question. Maybe we'll see the interaction in this game. Should also mention, I mean, we're seeing a decent amount of Tiny as position 1, where they take the insurmountable facet. This is the old Crash Landing, which has been nerfed several times now, but
it was
still has quite a bit of burst with these combos.
I think that was genuinely the best facet in the entire game.
Oh, really?
Original Crash Landing.
Okay, so version 1.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
Yeah, possibly. I'd have to look at them again, but
I think it increased toss damage by 35% on landing, and then it applied a slow for 2.5 seconds or something ridiculous. Oh, Falcons, are they actually just going to get this one scot-free?
Well, they're actually running out of the pit.
Backing out on 20%. Spirit, they see them on the ward, so they think Spirit are going to approach them, but as a matter of fact, Spirit will run to the left.
Yeah, they definitely could have had it.
Rue got vision there. This is a very awkward spot to be in for Falcons. They're going to smoke their way out, but Dragon Form is about to expire, so you're going to be fighting with that disadvantage. Spirit will take a smoke of their own. Now, Radon is joining for the first time. Blink, Battle Fury ready.
Welcome, Yatoro, to the game. He's going to go into the pit. The smokes will pop, so they know that somebody is in there. Plasma Field is going to show him as well. He's actually taking so much damage. He's going to pop the ult, though. Stay alive as a result, and they take out Malrine easily. Now he jumps on top of Crit, the Skewer. That is another death on the side of Falcons. It's now a 3 versus 5. Amar in the pit, though, trying to focus everything onto Radon. He is dead with the breathe fire. Roshan up for the grabs. The Aegis is taken by Lara in the end. Finally, RP from Collapse onto 2. And this looks like a lost fight for Falcons as Yatoro, the sacrificial lamb here, the sacrificial bear in all likelihood. Snake King going to be the last member of Falcons to fall.
Damn.
A 1 for 5 with the Aegis going the way of Spirit.
And there were a lot of things there that Falcons did right, in my opinion. Very bag users. I guess it's bug. I don't know what bug they're using here. So maybe they could see that. I don't even know what he's talking about. Maybe there's something about the Roche pit that we're not.
Spicy. Or he just really hates bags.
Yeah, it's possible.
Some old woman came into the room. He's like.
He saw Amar in the lobby. He was carrying. Groceries.
Yeah, that. Don't ever use plastic bags. Always paper, okay? He's just trying to save the environment.
So we're going to see the replay here. So Radon goes in. He gets plasma fielded, but does get telekinesis out by... I mean, this telekinesis kind of worked against them, right?
Yeah, a little bit.
Malrine tried to chase for the kill, and then he just got his position compromised.
We're into live. Laurel going to the aggressive toss. Avalanche the follow, and now Yatoro coming to eat up the dragon. Rue gets the last hit, but another death for Falcons. It's starting to slip away a bit. 5K lead for Spirit. Age is still intact, and look who it is. Collapse finding yet another kill.
Yeah, this is not looking good. That fight around the Roche pit is really pivotal for the game, and Falcons, they were close to getting the Roche, then they backed out. They got cold feet thinking Spirit would approach when they actually weren't quite, but it's a game of chicken, right? You see them on a ward, you don't know if they're going to rush in there head first or if they're going to take a detour around. Maybe you could have got the Roche for free, you didn't. You take the fight. You do a couple of things right. I didn't like the way they approached the Ursa with tossing him out with the telekinesis. I think that was a bit of a mistake, but Amar got a great Yules onto the Magnus to prevent the initial RP, but then he forced RP'd them afterwards. Didn't even need to blink for it. But yeah, if you lose the Slardar that early in the fight, I'm a little bit concerned for Falcon's just ability to kill heroes, right? They really need his damage to make Dragon Knight and Razor look good.
Man, when they watch, if they end up losing this game, Falcons, when they look at that replay, I guess AUI will just be telling them, they had Roche. But you don't know that, obviously.
Exactly, so it's like, from our perspective, it looks like, wow, why did you back out? But if you stayed in there and Spirit ran straight at you, it would have been like, wow, we're idiots who stacked for a 4-man RP and lost the game. It's just, it's damn it if you do, damn it if you don't territory.
Oh, Dragon Tail initiation.
That's a nice find. Yes, Aegis, though.
Yeah, that.
You gotta kill him the first time.
One more right. He misses! Oh my god! Atos now from Rue. Will they be able to turn this around? Laurel's still looking for that high 5 as the Skewer from Collapse. They'll find the Rubik Ice Path connecting onto 2 with the Macropyre as well. Snake King is dead. Malrine looks to be next on the list. Finally, they get the Aegis, but it's going to cost Falcons dearly, although Malrine might have the space now. Gets the shield rune, so should be A-okay.
Laurel looking for more. He'll see Skitter. Dagger on cooldown.
Yep. Nice Avalanche does Collapse. Hit. He's got the toss back. Collapse with the skewer. Man, oh man. That was unfortunate for Falcons, but great synergy here from Team Spirit as always.
It's just, when Spirit are in form, it's just beautiful to watch their spellcasting. I love the way this team is so... It just feels so effortless, you know? The way they're casting their abilities, the way they're chasing down in these situations, it looked like by design Collapse was just near there to get that Force Staff so that Tiny can find that pick.
Yeah.
It's like, it felt like it was planned out 20 seconds in advance, which is obviously impossible, but they just know where to be at the right times. They know how to play off each other and move. And that's also why, historically, a lot of the time, Spirit has been one of the best comeback teams in the world, because even when they lose the early parts of the game in the laning stage, they still just play off each other incredibly well to find some avenue back. And then it means when they're ahead, you're in trouble, because they just don't drop the ball very often. They play it very cleanly. So far now, the 10K lead, minute 24, and Falcons, these heroes, I just don't... I think it's tough playing it from behind. It's good news for them. Amar has the BKB. I think that's mandatory to stand a chance here, but Skitter is far away.
Yeah.
And the one on Malrine is not even coming. He's going for the Ags, so...
Well, Malrine might be getting caught off guard again. Crit is going to be the first to fall. Malrine does have sprint, though, as Laurel continuing the chase.
Has Haste Rune.
Yeah, he's not going to pop it quite yet. Has the blink up in 3 seconds.
Yeah. Cool to see him buy the Manta against the Corrosive Haze, of course. A very uncharacteristic item for Tiny, but it's a good game for it.
Yeah, especially with the armor nerfs to grow in this last patch.
Helps a bit.
They will be backdooring this tower easily.
Gives him, courtesy of Laurel's item build, he has 26 agility, up from 0.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah.
Very helpful.
Wow. Love that armor.
Oh, Snake King spotted. And collapse with that Lotus.
It really is not very often you see Snake King have this hard of a game. He's literally just feeding. And it's not by being in terrible positions and playing awful. It's just, he just can't go anywhere. Feels like everywhere Snake King goes to try to ward or try to get some sort of intel for his team, he just gets killed by a Magnus or a Tiny.
Yeah. He's
0 and 8 on the Crystal Maiden. That said, it's kind of impressive that he's rocking level 12. He's only 1 level behind the Jakiro of Spirit, who's 4-1 and 13.
Yeah, that is actually kind of weird, isn't it?
He has 52 CS. I mean, it's classic Snake King territory, right? Even in hard games, he will find farm, and it's going to cost him his life sometimes, but yeah, usually it doesn't look this bad.
He did have to purchase the shard to help him farm.
Yeah.
Tormy should be up relatively soon. They did have a big standoff, so I'm not exactly sure the timing on this one, but we can see Roche. We won't know for another couple minutes, but that is likely what Spirit is waiting for. Although there's still 2 tier 2s that I feel like they can just walk down right now. At least one of them they can get for this next Roche.
Considering the changes they made to the Roshan timer, where you can just see when he may respawn, do you think that's coming for the Tormentor too?
Yeah, for sure.
I'm actually surprised they didn't put them in together.
Yep. Oh, Lotus. Gonna reflect the telekinesis, but it matters not here.
Falcons, I've given them a lot of props over the last year for their ability to play from behind, like avoiding bad fights and finding an avenue for comeback. Kind of Spirit-esque sometimes with how they play disadvantages, but...
Snake King, another death to your resume. Dragon Form is spot by Skeeter on the other side. Laurel goes in pretty deep, but Roshan is the one doing the massive damage to Malrine. Just gets chomped down. Amar has stolen quite a bit of damage, but I don't think it's going to be enough. He gets swiftly taken out. Skeeter basically all alone, and he's going to get pounded to the ground. And this is getting close to GG territory.
They don't even need our
left and right. Dead shot connects. Another death for Snake King. That's a dieback.
It's got to feel good to play Magnus in this part of the game and not even have to use your ult.
I think we've seen like 1, right? And another crit death?
Yeah.
All right, well, this one's not going 60 minutes. You're right about that one.
This isn't exactly how I visualized it. I will say I think Spirit kind of just crushed them harder in this mid-game than I would have anticipated, but I definitely think this is within, like, if you consider how these teams have played so far in the tournament, how unbeatable Spirit has looked, if the game looks quite even and they hit a power spike around this mid-game portion, you got to be super ready to strike. And yeah, they have just not been able to fight back. The Ursa and the Tiny combination doing tons of damage, and Collapse he's just fishing for them.
Yep, and
just
they're taking these buildings without Aegis. Don't even have a shard on the Tiny yet. I think go back to the high ground. There's going to be 5 up soon for Falcons, so they are respecting that, and we know that it's actually a pretty late Roche spawn, so another 2.5 minutes, but you can always go for the Tormy in the meantime.
And I guess if you want to go back to the draft now, looking at this, why do you think Falcons wanted to take the trade of Slardar for Mag against this particular team? Because I'm like, There might be something about how Slardar has a good lane matchup against Magnus. It's melee versus melee. They're flexing it, etc. But
snaking.
Oh,
what a juke!
Fancy footwork.
That was Matrix-esque.
Yep.
Beautiful.
Crystal
Let's
Maiden.
get a highlight of that one.
-5 move speed next patch.
Yeah, that was too good for Crystal Maiden.
Yeah, she was way too
Nerfs
fast.
needed.
I think Crystal Clone needs to have slower travel time. It doesn't really fit the hero's design.
That's true. It needs to be absolute slow motion. Here we go. The one highlight you'll see for Falcons this game. Hadouken!
That is not a Hadouken at all. Do you know what a Hadouken is?
It's Ryu.
Okay.
Or Ryu. I don't even know how to say it. I
Good.
just felt like
enough.
sometimes you just get that feeling you need to say Hadouken.
Oh, yeah, it happens frequently.
Doesn't need to. I mean, yeah.
Oh, they get the job.
Dragon Tail. Do they have enough damage? They do.
They
Down goes Yatoro. 80
kill.
seconds,
Wow.
and Falcons showing some life now. 5 versus 4. They absolutely need to get more.
That was a nice kill. I was not expecting them to be able to burst him before he gets ult or BKB off, but just great layering.
Unfortunately for them, though, Roche not up anytime soon.
It's something for Falcons, though. It is a very nice kill, but what is going to be the additional benefit here? Great execution.
Ooh.
No.
Yeah, Horn Toss available for Collapse. Root, he's going to show himself.
Okay.
Surprisingly so. Places down the calling. There's the Horn Toss, but the instant telekinesis to cancel out the combination. But the Macropyre doing insane amount of damage. Mallory is just stuck in the fire. He will fall as a result.
They don't even need their carry.
Yeah, Yatoro just sitting back, watching, enjoying. Deadshot, a rare miss as Collapse will hit the skewer. He's basically out of mana right now. And Amar being slowed to a crawl. Laurel will eventually catch up. Gets the toss. And this will eventually lead to his death.
Okay, Shannon, we've moved the goalpost. They don't need RP and they don't need their carry. So effectively...
He still never cast it. That's actually insane.
It's sometimes the threat of the RP is enough. That's generally what we talk about with Enigma, but... Well, with the Horn Toss available... Oh, he found a regen room, by the way. So Collapse is ready to go for round 2 here. And Laurel will...
Yeah, all they need is Laurel to push anyway, so...
Yep.
Does he have the shard? He does finally have the shard. So this will be 2 sets of barracks for Team Spirit. The tier 2 still up
and they're getting Roche
in the top lane. But yeah, Roche will be theirs, and they'll likely just walk down top.
And Rodon is almost finishing off his Lincoln Sphere.
Interesting.
So
for the Link?
Gonna be able to... he'll block one of 3 things most likely with this, right? Either Dragon Tail, or he will block Corrosive Haze, or he will block Static Link. And if he blocks any of those 3, he probably lives.
Remember when Static Link did not get blocked by Lincolns?
Yeah, when you could ground cast
it? It's really strange, right?
Yep.
There were some weird interactions back in the day.
I think it was just because of spaghetti code, which Valve will never admit. So they would never do that.
Design choice.
Yeah. I genuinely don't know why it was a ground cast ability. I think it was it might have been a parody thing with Dota 1, that it did do that at some point. Not completely sure. It's a long time ago.
No, it definitely, yeah. It worked that way in Dota 1 as well.
Okay.
Skeeter will get the shard, so Fireball online.
Yeah, it does physical damage.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
It does more damage with the Slardar. I mean, the synergies for Falcons lineup, there are plenty, but
oh yeah,
doing the damage requires you to have control of your heroes, and it seems like whenever Spirit go in, they lose control of their heroes very fast.
Yeah, and they're not playing Troll Warlord.
Yeah.
Funnily enough, that's usually
either
sign up for that
pop
one.
their BKB so they can stand their ground at least somewhat against Tiny Ursa, but then if they get RP'd, they're just screwed.
Mm-hmm.
It's tough, and I definitely think no matter how this game ends, I don't think Spirit are getting Magnus again this series. I think it's causing way too many issues for Falcons. It's going to be prioritized to a first phase ban, which many other teams would do anyway. Falcons came in with an idea here with the Slardar as a potential counter. I think it's safe to say it has not worked as a counter at all. I think Slardar has been countered by Mag.
It wasn't just the skewers, although those were amazing. It's also just having the Empower for a hero that you've shut down in the Ursa, who just catches up and gets a normal time battle for you despite feeding early on. Skewer snaking is super dead. Avalanche coming in from Laurel. Static Link was broken. And they're going to just reset things now.
But yeah, that's the 11th one now for Snay.
They're having a rough one for sure. I mean, CM is not fun to play in states like this. Amari's going to force out the Radon ult.
Cost him his BKB, though.
As the Roshan's banner is placed, but they find a lowly Dragon Knight. Has to pop the BKB, but I don't think he's getting to the high ground. They rip right through him. And Crit gets brought back into Laurel's arms. GG is called here. Game number 1. It was pretty close at the beginning, but that Roche play it felt like the game almost ended at that point.
Spirit.
Game 2 is upon us. Team Spirit versus Falcons. Game 1 sucked. Game 2 is going to be a lot better. I guarantee it, Cinderin. This is a matchup we've been looking forward to. Game 1 was a warm-up game for Falcons, all right?
All right.
That's all it takes, a warm-up. Now they're back in it. Their fingers are nice and loose, nice and warm. They got their heating packs for the people that have terrible circulation like me, and they're going to have a better show in Game 2.
And they replaced all of their heroes.
That's true, yeah.
It's pretty cool to see from both teams here that entering Game 2, there's only one repeat pick, which is the Muerta for Spirit. I know Dragon Knight was also in the previous game, but it was for the other team, right? So, yeah. And even that one repeat pick is now being played by Miposhka, so they put it on a different priority in the lineup. So a lot of adaptation, a lot of theory crafting here being put into effect. I think the last pick, Lina from Falcons, I think was a very cool idea here. There's a lot of pressure on Malrine to perform. I think Lina is unpicked this tournament for a reason. She got nerfed really hard in 738. But in the right game, the hero can still be very good. And the main things I'm looking for a good Lina game are, number one, are you able to not get jumped too much, which I think is the case in this game. Nice. The only real jump in Spirit's team is a potential Blink Dragon Knight. Nobody else is really going to jump you in the back line. And secondly, whether you go right-click or magic focus build, are there heroes that you counter through artillery and with magic damage? Because if Lina goes right-click, she's still going it with Mjolnir, right? Yep. Generally speaking. So, and that's Terrorblade. So Terrorblade and Dragon Knight don't like to take too much magic damage. They have high armor. So I think this was a really cool idea from Falcons, and look forward to see if Malrine can pop off in this game. And
I agree.
Challenge Spirit.
Lina is a cool hero this game. I have a question, though. So Dawnbreaker, we saw Skeeter play it the other day as a position 1. A lot of times you want to have this big tanky guy up front that he can ult on. Now, Ember does have a lot of mobility, but I wouldn't call him the tankiest of heroes. Like, what do you think of the Dawnbreaker having the exact same play style where you're just kind of off to the jungle, waiting for somebody to initiate, then you Solar Guardian in? Is he going to try to be doing the same things? Is it going to be less effective because of the lineup overall?
I think that's how you have to play carry Dawn, right? The way you utilize the hero's skill set is largely through out-farming, because you have the luxury of farming and fighting basically simultaneously. Think Nature's Prophet. It's no coincidence that Skitter plays Nature's Prophet and Dawnbreaker for this team in a lot of their games, because they are a very efficiency-focused team, and the way this carry functions just plays into his strengths of using the map that way. But like you said, the only real setup is Slight Chains and maybe an Ice Path. Although, I guess Bounty Hunter is a little bit of a wild card in that. Sure, Bounty doesn't have the longest stun himself, but you get like the quote-unquote stun of the enemy team getting jumped out of nowhere. It's hard to react to if you get Solar Guardian just from an Invis hero, right?
Yeah, very true.
And if Bounty has level 4 Shadow Walk with the right timing, he can back-to-back stun for a total of 2.8 seconds, which is, that's a setup.
Yeah, as long as they don't have the vision, I suppose.
Yep,
but
exactly.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see if they can execute that to a high degree. But like you kind of brought up in game number 1, Team Spirit have looked pretty flawless so far in this tournament.
Yeah,
and we'll see if anybody can really contest them. Game 1, not so much.
That's the thing. I think it's cool in a tournament if there's a quote-unquote a boss that it's a matter of can anyone figure them out. And I know it's early. We've not played too many games, but I think it's fair to say so far that Spirit has just overall looked the best, which makes for a cool storyline. Like who's gonna give them their first big challenge? Who's gonna maybe defeat them? And that's obviously going to be. That's what I'm looking at right now. Is who's gonna step up to the plate and make this team bleed.
Well, to be fair, they haven't played Tundra yet. Right?
That is true. That is true.
Was the 5-game finals that they just took place in. Spirit did take that in the end, but yeah, those two teams in general have just looked better than everybody.
Yeah, we'll see
things
Tundra
can change
in
quickly.
play after this series.
I mean, this is still the like this patch is in its infancy, right? So things change pretty drastically, especially when it's such a big patch overall. It takes quite a lot of time for players to adapt and discover new things. Right now, see that Collapse is leading the way in terms of CS on the Abaddon. He has the Mephitic Shroud facet, which is the main one we've been seeing.
Yep. The carry Abaddon we saw from Roshan yesterday went for the Quickening. But yeah, Mephitic is the more popular choice in general. But both facets very good. So I don't think you can really go wrong, because both choices are just so flat out stable and strong that one might have an advantage over the other in any given game, but you're never going to be like, damn, I really messed up by picking, you know,
yeah,
one or the other. They're just simply extremely strong facets, both of them. Which I think, in a way, kind of, I guess, is the ultimate goal for facets, is that you either want both to be, you want it to feel like a meaningful choice, right? It should never be, all right, one is always better. It should be, okay, for this type of game, this is how I envision things are going to go.
No, I understand what you're saying. I don't know if that's true for Abaddon, though. You really think it's that meaningful of a choice for him? Because, like you said, you're fine with both in most cases. Like, what makes this one better?
Right, I guess what I was getting at is either you want both to be solid choices, or if they're polarizing where one is bad sometimes, it needs to be good sometimes too, right? And I just think some of the facets are just flat out no-brainers still. They've improved it.
It's gotten a lot better.
On some heroes, it's just like, there is no way you're taking this facet, right? Compared to the other one. In Pro Dota especially. There's just...
Not everything's about Pro Dota, Center. Some people don't want to control their Visage familiars. That's fine. Perfectly fine. That's when we see the calling in the bot lane. Radon is going to get first blood onto Crit. It will be a trade as Crit kills him from the grave, apparently. Okay. How does that even work? And Amar going to be pressuring Miposhka, but the dead shot. Amar has to be really careful. Okay, gaining some nice regen. Miposhka does come out on top. Can't say I'm too surprised. He just wanted to go all out in a blaze of glory.
Oh, it was the blood grenade. I was looking, I was like, what in the... How... That's literally the only way that could happen. Unless if Ember hadn't dealt damage to Terrorblade. I was like, that's not what happened.
Blood grenade is it's such a rare occurrence. I feel like there needs to be like an explosion of blood.
Oh.
Very important. Like the really bad looking one for Rupture, just put that as the blood grenade kill. The one that looks like it's in 2D. Just a little request for Valve.
Oh, nice find here from Malrine, the Haste Rune. Gonna make his rotation down toward bottom. This could be big. He's level 6, and we know Terrorblade is vulnerable.
Yep.
And he's also dead.
Slave and Laguna available. That should be an easy kill, and indeed it is.
Oh, he might go for more. Miposhka.
He's gonna be able to take out Snaking with one last right click. And the question is, how much will this cost on the other side? They don't find another. The dead shot will hit Malrine. Does not have... Or at least he did not at the time. Yeah, he still does not have LSA at his disposal.
Is Amar... Malrine just stuck around and took a whole lane wave as tax away from the Ember. I don't know how good that really is. I think when you're playing offlane Ember, you're a little bit more starved for experience than when you're playing mid. I think this gank from Malrine was great, but afterwards I would have liked to see him just immediately run back to mid with his Haste Rune and let Amar take the free wave out of the Terrorblade kill to accelerate him a little bit. When you're playing non-mid Ember, this hero, I think Amar's just flat out going to go 4-4-0 build. And the faster you get these spells to high level, so you reduce the cooldowns, you get to play that offlane style a lot more effectively. But now, instead, with that wave taken by the Lina, he's still half a level away from 6.
What do you think about Amar playing Ember? We saw this the other day. Definitely does not feel like an Amar hero. It doesn't mean he doesn't play it well. It's just he always has his signature Mars and all these tanky type of heroes as mid lane. Laguna Blade onto Laurel, taking a lot of burn damage. We'll walk it off though.
It's in a way it does share some thematic style with Slark that Amar likes playing in the offlane. You know, the whole poke and prod, be elusive, try to draw attention to yourself but not too much. But yeah, it's definitely, it's not one of his like top 10 played heroes even, I would think. But if there's a patch where people can make it work, he's not the only player to play this offlane this tournament. We have seen it before as well.
What is up with that bounty rune area? Nobody ever goes for that. It's always tons available.
Yeah, Spirit just picked up 4 bounties.
Yeah, and just like that, that's a 1K lead. Crit is dusted. Dragon Tail as well. Big Illuminate to follow. As Laurel and company, okay, the Solar Guardian is actually being placed. They want to try to contest these camps.
This
Peter is actually just
awkward.
ignoring the heroes. Gonna go for collapse instead. The Aphotic Shield still applied. Has not skilled his ult quite yet, and Snaking is gonna easily get ticked out. So lots of rotations to this triangle, and looks like Spirit will still have access to their stacks.
Yeah, Malrine with no point in LSA can't really set anything up
Surely
yet.
a 1 level would be valuable here. Allows for the Laguna.
Oh!
Okay, a little too slow.
Damn. He skilled it right after he died.
Yeah, unfortunate.
Very nice kill here for Malrine.
We saw this yesterday as well. I feel like players are a little too greedy. The min-max on the borrow time. Just get it.
I don't know. I still think it's the right thing. I mean, clearly it's the right thing theoretically. The question is, how often do you mess up? Right? If it happens 1 in 10 games, I think it's still better to not skill it until you need it. But you're going to see the replay here. Crit giving that vision. There's the stun. Laguna.
Let's see.
Plenty of time here to skill it. But yeah, skills it right after.
Unfortunate.
Yep. Nice play. That's why you take the chance. You go for it. Falcons know that he likely hasn't skilled ult, and they play the man, and they win it.
They play the man. 2K lead for Spirit here early on.
Malrine, 4-0-3 here. When's he going to skill it?
Yeah, I don't know when the normal time for him would be. He does have an Arcane Rune now.
There's just a meaningful value to having a point in LSA, right? It's a
100%.
setup for Ice Path. It's a setup for Dawn ulti. But really valuing the efficiency of just the raw farming, that extra point in Fiery Soul.
I mean, it's the min-max.
It is. It's one of those things where if one stun point could get you 1 kill, specifically because you had it, that probably outweighs the benefits of the Fiery Soul point, but...
I'm sure AUI has done the math.
Yeah,
we'll have to ask him at some
AI2000,
point.
our good friend.
Yep. Skeeter has a Solar Guardian available, so can join at any time. He's going for Blade Mail.
Oh, Collapse almost took top tower, actually.
Yeah, Collapse already 2K into his eventual Radiance. So what do you think about Radiance this game for the Abbey?
You need to stop calling him
I'm
Abby.
not going to
You're
stop.
specifically calling him Abby now because it bothers
What do I care? It's the juxtaposition, Cinder, and it's cool. It's funny, okay?
Okay.
Just deal with it.
Yeah, sorry, I don't understand.
I understand that you don't understand. Mid lane, Dragon Tail from Laurel to try to get away. There's a Solar Guardian coming in. There's the LSA, Laguna Blade, Starbreaker, goodbye.
All right, level 9's the
Dragon
sweet
Knight.
spot. That's when you get it.
Apparently.
What do I think of Radiance? I mean, it's pretty standard, right? You're likely to play the type of fights where you are in the middle and you want to just run around giving information for your team and do additional damage to make space for the Terrorblade in fights. So if you compare this to going, let's say, Harpoon, I guess the mindset here is you're not likely to get to just stick on a target and run them down fully, but you are likely to get some movement around the fights. So,
all right, they're going to try to pop the borrowed time. They do so, bring him back to full HP. Collapse really doesn't want to die here. Has not purchased a Sacred Relic as of yet, but no more damage to come from Falcons. They just want to put that bad boy ult on cooldown. Make sure he has it skilled first, actually.
I will say one of the downsides to Radiance here, though, is that you're actually not blinding very much. Dawnbreaker, Starbreaker can't miss.
True.
Emperor's Slight Chains.
Oh, Dragon Tail.
That's a
Malrine might be ticking out. It's going to be
Spurting
close.
out.
Yes, he does fall. Amar trying to get some retribution here. Is crit. Finally level 6, so the track online is a very rare miss from Aposhka.
Rue wouldn't have missed that one because he never misses.
That's true. Aposhka, how dare you? Now, we didn't really talk about Keeper of the Light. I mean, earlier today, Owen and Fog were talking about how crazy this hero looks with the recall, especially on a map that's so big. Are we going to be seeing this hero get picked / banned, just contested a little bit more as the tournament goes on, you think?
I mean, so far he hasn't lost. So I'd say if Spirit win this game, the hero's 4-0.
Oh, yeah, Toro. Searing Chains is going to set up the LSA.
Nice find.
Laguna Blaine. Laguna not really needed, but they'll take it.
You take no risks against Terrorblade. You don't want to give him a chance to sunder. Just get him out of there immediately. Get the track gold for your team. And Spirit are going to try to put some pressure back the other way, courtesy of this mid tower, and they will claim it. But that was still a very big kill for Falcons. Not only is it on the Terrorblade, but it was a 4-man track. And you you want to get that bonus gold and accelerate your Lina as much as possible. Jenkins was talking about how this is the type of game that Lina can truly hard carry, which I agree with. But yeah, you need to have the lead, which he does. Not by a landslide, but it's the makings of something good. The Mjolnir is coming close. Interesting to see him opt for the Mjolnir before Travels here. I think there's a world where you go Maelstrom, Travels, and then Mjolnir, for example, but flat out just immediately accelerating that damage. I guess you have some good Mjolnir targets in your team. Throwing Mjolnir onto Dawnbreaker when she has Blade Mail makes her insanely dangerous to hit.
Yeah. And not too bad for Amar either, since he's going to be in the midst of things.
Yeah.
We'll see if that static charge comes into play this game. Tier 1 tower forted. Falcons going to try to still take this away.
I mean, Poshka is set up, but over time, surely Jakira will whittle away with this liquid fire. I think
There's a defense mounted, though.
Do it. Yeah, they're...
Dragon form activated for Laurel. He has the Blink Dagger.
This is a very good read from Falcons here to not get caught off, because most teams just sacrifice this tower here.
Yeah, and Poshka trying to be juicy bait, although on the other side of the map, Collapse finds Skeeter.
Yeah, he has
the
Radiance.
hammer.
This is a very fast Radiance because he didn't finish Corrosion. He just got the Orb of Frost.
Ah, that's true, yeah.
We'll save that 700 gold, and that makes for a much, much faster Radi.
Well, they're going to set up for this
Torment time.
Stormy.
Yep.
And you can see the smoke from Falcons. They want to contest as well. Crit.
He was barely spotted on a sentry. They place a secondary one, but he gets a good path around the right-hand side. Obs is placed. Falcons with the better vision.
Oh, the Dragon Tail initiation. Ice Path to follow, though. Solar Guard is going to keep the bounty alive and stun Laurel after the fact. Starbreaker destroying him, but the silence is doing absolute work against the Mar. Finally, they get the Dragon Knight, but the question is, how much is it going to cost them?
Oh,
First
that's
is Snake
slight.
King. Amar will be able to Remnant away. Skeeter completely out of mana as Collapse just wants to force the issue. Does not have his ult anymore, but the Radiance will continue to burn. Good Searing Chains.
Wow.
And the dead shot not hitting this time. So 2 for 1.
You talked about Matrix shit in the last game from Crystal Maiden. That was the real Matrix from Amar. He dodged the dead shot with a single target sleight of fist. So flat out bullet timing that one. Really, really nice. Otherwise he would have been dead, I think, just from the impact damage of that bullet. But when all is said and done, despite getting that jump and the kill on the Dragon Knight, just the overall damage over time from Radiance and Mephitic Shroud.
Yeah, they're going to try for this. There's a scan out. Dragon form from Laurel. He's back into the action. Crit might be spotted on the other side of the tree line, though. Yatoro does have his meta available.
Kind of surprised to see Spirit still not dewarding the Tormentor. They just
true,
They don't have a single sentry, so this is a bit of a blunder that we'll see if it's going to cost them. Dawn, no ulti, no mana. Looks like they might just get it, just winning the war there of, yeah, I guess attrition, right? Abaddon is healing, Caudal is healing and giving mana. Falcons ran out of juice. And
a bit bad RNG on the shard drop. They certainly would have preferred it onto Rue as Snake King. He's going to get the Ice Path. Macropyre still sticking around to try to get this Caudal as Collapse is in the area with the Aphotic Shield and heals, but not going to be enough to save Rue. The question is, do they have enough damage to go for Collapse? I doubt it. Ice Path keeps him in place. Laguna Blade, now the borrowed time to get to full HP. Collapse still not ready to give this up. He wants to continue to fight, and I think that is a mistake.
they called his bluff.
Absolutely.
It looked like he was trying to, yeah, he was trying to look bigger than he was. There was no backup there, and kind of looks like a fool at the end of it. Gets the tip from Amar. It's just like, what are you doing, bro?
The classic.
Because he might have survived there if he just tried to run, right? I don't know. If they burned so much on him.
Dragon Tail from Laurel with the dead shot should secure at least the support.
Yep. Rue's gonna teleport himself in with the recall. So, in kind of similar fashion to Game 1, the earlier portion of the game looking quite even. This was when things started to accelerate for Spirit in a very quick fashion.
Yeah, when's the Roche fight?
Yeah.
That's what we want to see.
Doesn't seem likely that Spirit can just turn this into a stomp compared to Game 1. I think this time around Falcons have stabilized a lot better. I think their core matchups make a bit more sense. And especially Malrine will be the X factor with that. Fast Mjolnir now working on the Pike. Still just running brown boots. I'm curious to see when these get upgraded. Surely after Pike he goes Travels, right? Like you can't keep playing without that on this Lina. Rather pitiful move speed without those.
Well, he's banking on all the track kills to come.
Yep.
As another death for Snaking, so back to back.
Yeah. He's had a rough series so far. I think in this series, Snaking is like 1-17.
He has to kill this game though,
maybe.
right? So that's
he got 1 kill last game as well, I think.
Oh,
at
did
the
he?
end. I'm not sure actually. Maybe he did go 0 on.
I thought he was 0-for, but I could be wrong.
You might be right. It's been rough. It's a rough life out there as a position 5 against this meta. I'm being told he had a kill last game, Shannon. Stop spreading misinformation.
Sorry about that. Fake news.
Yep.
Snaking is a god.
Okay, that's an interesting angle on that. He went 1-13. Godlike.
Godly. Well, you can see Team Spirit trying to find somebody on the outskirts here, getting some wards down as well as Skeeter is just going to farm away to his heart's content. He has the BKB now, going to go for the S and Y.
Yep. And similarly to game number 1, Radon with a couple of deaths in lane, and then playing the full-on catch-up game and eventually taking top net worth. This has once again now happened on that Terrorblade. But on the Ursa, managed to get the Aegis, and then the game just exploded wide open. This time around, looks to still be focused a lot on the farming, less so the aggression. And closing in on what seems to be a Pike for himself. Keeping that range has to be the name of the game here for both teams, with both Lina and Terrorblade opting for that item.
Shield Rune taken by Collapse. Good luck getting through that.
Yep. Wait, so how does Searing Signet work on a Batten when you have a Mephitic Shroud? When does this burn them?
That's true.
Aside from, is it just the Mist Coil that can proc?
Smoke initiation, and guess who it is? The god himself, Snaking.
Oh, got him. Oh, they also found Cret. A little extra snack here.
Yeah, we got a couple tracks off, but that's all he can do at this stage. So 2 supports dead again for Falcons as Spirit just a slight lead at this stage. Mar knows that there's yeah, they're just gonna split farm here. Nice little pack. They know that they can't do much. Although Maposhka is found by Amar. He's gonna pop the ult to try to TP out. The Solar Guardian is there in time.
Good timing from Skeeter, though.
Silence is going to delay things, using the cover of his silence pretty nicely, but yeah, doesn't matter in the end. They get the trade of Wisdom Shrines.
And that Starbreaker, it hits hard when people are low, when you've got Brigand's Blade.
Yeah, he really needs... I wonder when he's going to prioritize Shard, because against the Muerta, you would think that that would be pretty important.
Just being able to cast it before the calling, you
Yeah.
mean? Yeah. It's tricky because
I guess he already has BKB,
he has BKB,
so maybe it's
and
not that
I think BKB is actually kind of necessary. I find that playing Dawn into reliable silences is really difficult if you don't have BKB. Like the Shard conceptually might feel good enough because you can, you're like, yeah, if I just cast it before I get silenced, it doesn't matter. But more often than not, it just gets in your way. It's the same if you're playing against Ricky. It just feels really bad to have your Shard, because every single time you're silenced, the Shard is worth nothing, and you paid 1,400 for it. The BKB will always be your guaranteed connection for Starbreaker, which this hero is obviously all about in the mid-game fights. So I do like the BKB, and I like the S&Y too. I think it's better than getting Shard right now. He might buy Shard after this, just for the mobility aspect and the guaranteed better connections onto, in particular, Caudle. I think would be a really nice hero for the Dawn to connect on.
That's a tough one.
Yeah,
It's gonna
he does have
Force
Ember
Staff
to help
soon.
him get there.
Yeah, true.
Amar eyeing up a Manta, so you can take Amar off of his heroes, but you can't take him off of the carry style builds.
Yeah, of course.
The Mage Slayer into Manta offlane Ember. Wants to make sure he scales. Shiva's coming next for him.
Meanwhile, Yatoro with the Manta Hurricane Pike. And gonna go for the flavor of the month, Revenant's Brooch on the Terrorblade. You've been a bit of a disbeliever in this item, at least for how often it's being picked up.
Yeah,
obviously against certain heroes it does have its value.
Right, I'm just unsure really, because when I see it picked up on heroes that only use a portion of the item, like we saw Sumail buy it on OD, which didn't really make sense to me, and then we've seen, I think the games where it makes the most sense to me is you're picking it on a carry that really benefits from getting the crit chance, and where you're against heroes where you want the magic damage.
That's a free track kill for Falcons. They'll take that. Yeah, the spell lifesteal on Terrorblade does nothing, as far as I can tell.
Yeah, it doesn't sound that great, but
maybe it's just about the idea of making your damage more rounded.
Yes, exactly. The mixed damage seems to be a big part of it, having the magical damage crit.
Yeah, crit found out.
Speaking of crit.
But his team is nearby. LSA into the Solar Guarding. Actually, the ult is going to be popped early from the Abaddon, as Collapse now will try to run, but he's got to be careful. Macropyre placed into the Atos, and Amar is being burnt to a crisp by his own team. That doesn't make any sense.
Nope.
Using the fire to his advantage. There we go.
That's what Ember generally does.
So somehow nothing comes of that.
Yeah, Abaddon is a tricky kill. If you don't have layers of back-to-back stuns, he had basically the perfect timing there on the Aphotic Shield cast as well, and they just can't really run him down.
This feels like we're waiting for a Roche fight at some point. But at what point are they going to be comfortable going for it? Either team.
Reen well equipped for said fight. Now with the BKB, he opted to not finish Pike, but back for the Black King Bar. Now Pike back in his quick buy, still doesn't want the boot to travel. I'll stop talking about it now.
Yeah, please stop. I'm really tired of this conversation because I don't say anything.
Why doesn't he have treads, Shannon?
Brown boots is enough.
Yeah.
He's just waiting for the tier 5 items. He knows this game's going to go. He heard Jenkins talking about it. He's going to get the Swift. I don't even know the hell the names are anymore.
Fleet-footed?
Sure, fleet-footed enchantment with the tier 5. Won't need boots at that point.
I mean, the thing is, this is not like unprecedented, right? It's not like this doesn't make sense. It's just a matter of when is it going to happen. Seems like Falcons are playing relatively tight together, considering they're playing a Bounty Hunter Ember lineup with Dawn. A lot of the time, on a macro level, you want to spread your heroes out so that you can find moments of opportunity to gank heroes that are farming on their own, but it's just difficult for them to kill the cores. Abaddon is a really difficult kill for them. Dragon Knight's super tanky, and the Terrorblade with Manta Pike is not going to be an easy find. So Falcons seem like they kind of feel forced to group up, and that to at least some extent defeats the purpose of their lineup a little bit. Now they're
shot.
Straight up force a Roche fight. This is
and scan, so Spirit, no.
Dangerous.
Oh yeah. Dragon Form already popped.
They don't have Dawn there. She's continuing to farm bot, which makes sense, but it does, of course, also mean that the Roche kill itself will be a lot slower.
Yeah, there's a Searing Chains to start things out. Team Spirit, they're going to try to continue on here. As Laguna Blade looked like it was used on Collapse, but fine Remnant away for Amar.
Clutch. Very close to getting Dragon.
I mean, the thing about this is Team Spirit are on a slight timer with this Dragon Form. And meta.
And meta, yeah. Meta's actually expiring in a few seconds.
Yeah,
they can get it up relatively fast with Chakra.
Yeah, that's fair. Not an ultimate, so definitely a good combo. He has Demon Zeal, though, so his melee form is not super useless like it usually is.
Yeah, he's going to have meta again so soon. This is a classic combination that old Liquid, when Kuro used to play on that, used to love to run with GH. They were playing Coddle Terrorblade with Miracle, and they just kept spamming out non-stop Conjure Image split push pressure, and then having that meta way more frequently. It's an old strategy from years past that still works when Coddle's good.
That's right.
What do you know? Yeah, meta's ready again. It just ran out. Like, it feels like it's been 20 seconds.
What about Dragon Form? That's the other one.
Yeah, that one you can't do.
You can't reduce that without an Octarine core, but he's only 15 seconds away, so Team Spirit will have round 2.
Yep.
And Roche getting close to the half HP mark.
Interesting, they're poking this with Collapse bot, and Collapse is even showing on the wave. So, kind of daring Falcons to come fight them, and then they're going to TP him in with the recall or with the TP itself.
I mean, that's the beauty of this global nature. I mean, you have on the other side as well. The Dawnbreaker you talked about, even the Remnant from Amar if you want. And Coddle will match that. Does he have the shard yet on the Coddle? No. He didn't get it from the Tormentor, which is unlucky as we talked about, but we'll see if he prioritizes that at any point. Starbreaker, though, they actually find the DK all alone.
That's a big pick.
Oh boy, Skeeter gets credit for that one.
Even pop Dragon form.
As Malrine and company will be able to get the tier 1. And they will almost certainly go into the pit.
Yeah, I think they're going to concede this Roche. You just saw Laurel immediately draw the lines to push the waves. And Amar, another global hero, is just going to come and take out the trash bottom. And he can still connect to the fight.
Yeah, Collapse is going to show himself, but...
Radon wants to go. 4v5.
What? Okay, gets Star broken. Half HP already, has the Sunder at its ready, but Skeeter with the BKB. Not able to finish the job, though, so he has to be careful now and reposition. As Roche really low. I cannot believe they went for this. So far it's working. Skeeter is so low. He has to get this in. He gets bashed by Roche and destroyed by the Illuminate. Roche super low, and Rue will take the Aegis. Spirit gets the Roche kill as well. Amar now on the run. Radon continuing the pressure with that meta form. Illuminate will clip him. I cannot believe they got away with this.
Wow. Oh my god.
Amar in the tree line. Dead shot not going to hit. They might need to just give up on this. This is a difficult one to catch. But still, they get away with everything.
And now with this Aegis on the Coddle, he's ready to push high ground. Gonna send him in. This has to be in like the bottom. It's not in the bottom 10% of Aegis carriers in all of Dota, I guess, because sometimes you play him mid and give him the Aegis. But
as a support.
Support Coddle with Aegis minute 25 or 30, whatever, is it's kind of funny. But wow, that was honestly sick play call, right?
Yeah.
Identifying that is a possibility from Radon is... Because it looked like their original plan was to give it up, and I think that was also what the way Falcons read that. They saw the Abaddon was still bottom. Oh, hang on. They find Emperor.
They have the damage dead shot to follow. The stun lock.
Manta.
He pops the Manta with the Remnants to go onto the other side to their triangle.
That's
Amar, mass TPs by the outpost. And the right clicks from a Collapse with the burn. Dead shot again hits, and they find him finally with the blinding light of Rue. And that is no Amar for a full minute.
I mean, do they actually just try to push high ground here? They have meta again. Is this a full... How far is he away? He needs about 1,000 on the Scotty on Radon. Snaking wisely will TP away here.
Well, it came down to the Roche fight again. 5K lead now as we want to watch this. So. Radon just balls of steel.
Yeah, Skeeter taking a beating here. Just gets dropped very, very low. The neutral item as well of Radon helping out greatly here with the
this bash,
serrated Shiv with the vast enchantment for the attack range on Terrorblade is extremely strong.
Rue just casually with a fucking bright horse just picking up the Aegis. Gotta love it. Oh, Skeeter. Oh boy. Oh boy, Laurel, they see him. They got the stun. Does have the BKB, and the Nightfall will be successful. Nightfall would be proud, but this is going to lead to a Tormy for Team Spirit. Actually, I feel like he moved a little too much. Usually it's BKB, TP immediately. That was a BKB, take a few steps.
Yeah.
That's like the Nightfall 1.4 version.
Okay, very specific.
As there is the shard for Rue. So now the double charges to recall. And this is where this hero just feels crazy.
Yeah. So you can... The amount of cooldown reduction you can give to Terrorblade, right? When you recall him twice and then chakra him. It's crazy.
Collapse with the Basher now. We'll be finishing the full Abyssal. That's what at least is queued up at the moment. And Amar not that far away from Shiva's. And the AC almost done for Skeeter at the moment. Just the recipe away. And for Malrine, looks like the Shadow Blade. So that's his move speed. Doesn't need boots of travel.
Look how many illusions are in the top lane from Adon. He has not popped his Manta. He has 4 illusions.
God dang.
That's that chakra at work.
Look at those particles. That's a TI winner right there.
Yeah, you gotta deal not only with his damage, but also with the wallet.
Yeah, that it looks fearsome. Pay to win. Scare your enemies.
The intimidation cosmetic.
Yeah, the conjure image does last 10 seconds longer with that 20 talent now. And Yatoro will continue to siege. Laurel on the low ground, looking for an opening for the Dragon Tail.
They need to get rid of these illusions sometime soon. This is just step-by-step burning down the base. Low-risk push. All right, Laurel will up the ante, going in first.
Yeah, just wants to tank it up. Tower is taken. Falcons. Well, you can see this is the bash from Collapse after the blink in.
Okay, that was a big Lotus.
Range barracks down. And they're going to try to reset as Miposhka gets a bit low.
Yeah, this Caudal Shard, the heal of Illuminate.
Well, more importantly, Cinderin, the Caudal Aegis about to expire, and they need to respect that.
Yeah, they're backing off.
Rue cannot die.
Rue can no longer deal 0 damage to the buildings and has to go back. But yeah, that's that second part of the shard as well, just having that 100% Illuminate heal. The 500 AoE heal on very low cooldown. Extremely powerful.
Falcons not that far behind, though. I feel like high ground will still be annoying for Spirit to take.
The tricky thing is Falcons in theory have decent poke and damage over time, right? With the Emperor Slight Chains, with the Mjolnir Lina attacking the illusions. It's the Caudal that's the X factor in all of that, right? He's negating so much of the damage with the heals that when Spirit are going for the push, it feels like if Falcons want to truly stop the push, they have to start committing a little bit. And if anything goes wrong, the counterplay could just be a game ender when you're pushing with Terrorblade. You got to be very, very careful with how you select your fights, and you could see in that base defense that Falcons were rather timid about it. They never used Dawn ulti, they never really went in. They were just trying to poke and prod and see if they could find a weakness. Now with the pipe on Bounty Hunter, maybe this is going to help a little bit more. Crit with some decent inventory here on that Bounty Hunter.
Yeah, how you felt about the position for Bounty this game as a pick?
I mean, they only have 11 kills. It's one of those heroes that it's rather difficult to appreciate just how much it's doing when we're watching Fog of War the way we are, where we watch both teams simultaneously. But a lot of the time, Bounty does a lot by being missing. Just giving information the enemy team isn't privy to, allowing you to farm that extra creep wave in a side lane on a core, etc., and then it can build up over time. Forcing the enemy team to buy sentries is economic damage, but yeah, unfortunately for Falcons, it doesn't feel like the game has gone the way they ideally would have wanted, right? So the Bounty hasn't truly paid off here.
Round 2.
Here it comes.
No Aegis on Caudal this time, Falcons.
Satanic on Radon, though. These illusions are also starting to be pretty damn tanky.
They jump tail onto the Lina, but they're going to re-aggress, it looks. They're back up, at least for the time being. And Yatoro is just doing so much damage, and that's a full lane. Although, fortification at the last moment. Feels like this is inevitable.
Siege creeps.
As Radon goes in for the last poke, he'll get it. And Falcons, I don't see them going in on this.
No. And it's so easy to sit here and be like, just go, you know, but it's...
Well, let me ask you this.
It's not easy to engage
What items are they waiting for?
This MKB on Lina might have been the final piece. Now they feel like there's enough damage that perhaps they can take these heroes down. But again, the problem is the Terrorblade is rocking 4,000 HP. It's such a tough kill to take down Radon. It's not only his 4K health, there's the Keeper of the Light Illuminate, there's the Aphotic Shield that with Blink they can protect him with. So I genuinely don't think Falcons can kill Terrorblade first. I don't think that's the angle you're looking at.
Laurel, this is a really deep attempt as the Solar Guardian comes in, so they're really committing to this. Laurel, he's going to get sundered by Yatoro. Very healthy indeed. And Collapse has come to play as well, but the 4-step onto the high ground crit's going to be A-OK. Amar, the LSA and the Laguna Blade. Collapse's ult finally goes off. Remnant's in. Laurel, he's going to go in pretty deep as well. As Malorine pops the BKB in retreat. He's trying to run away. A nice ice path on the 3 heroes with a huge sleight of fist to follow. Skeeter doing so much damage. Down goes 2 cores of Spirit. And this somehow worked out for Falcons. Miposhka on the run, looking to be the 3rd casualty in this engagement. Starbreaker hits, that should ensure the 3rd death
That's a lot of gold. Track kills.
Oh, yeah.
And that's exactly what we were looking for, right? Don't go on the Terrorblade first. They went on the Dragon Knight. They found a little moment of weakness, and Radon comes in for the saving Sunder, but yeah, the formation of Spirit there was just way more broken than it is when they're the ones pushing high ground and they get to place their heroes the way they want. And as soon as the fight gets fragmented, you get that value out of the Bounty Hunter. And the Lina especially, tons of output there coming out from Malrine. 6,000 damage in that fight.
Yep, kind of bad luck that Roche is not. It's another pretty long spawn.
Yep.
So Falcons won't get a freebie.
Crit's just waiting and they're patiently hoping, but not going to be the case. Still, that's about half the lead gone in one swing. So important fight for them, and most importantly, they found a recipe for something, right? Because it's felt like for the last 10 minutes that Falcons have not been able to find a moment of vulnerability, but this one,
yeah,
this worked out. They find an isolated Laurel, and to be honest, when the Sunder comes in, it's kind of looking dodgy already now for the side of Falcons, to be honest, because the Radon still has a Satanic, but when they get this chase through, they think they can kill off Malrine, not quite. They keep the chase going with Collapse. Not enough in the tank. Obviously had expended his ult, and this Ice Path.
Yeah,
beauty.
Snaking.
Beauty from Snake.
All those deaths just fuel him into a huge Ice Path.
And now they get the Aegis on Malrine.
And by the way, Cinderin, Boots of Travel has been picked up by Malrine.
Oh.
Congratulations. You called it. 4 items later, picks it up.
Shut up.
That's why you're the analyst here. They have the Aegis now. So they were able to snag that eventually. Yatoro was going to go for the Butterfly, by the way, but obviously sees the MKB, so reroutes now into a Swift Blink instead.
Makes
Not
sense.
Quite finished with it yet, though.
And I also think it makes, I would argue in a way maybe Swift Blink is better regardless, even if Lina didn't have MKB, just because if Terrorblade gets to be the center of attention in the fight, I think that's good for Spirit. If he can just blink in even offensively and just start hitting the backline, forcing the Lina out, maybe killing the Jakiro, he has so much health and so much backup that he can play very aggressively.
Oh, Rue is spotted. Crit looking for the stun. He's going to get it. That'll lead to the Horsey dead.
Okay.
Nice pickup. Another track kill. Still plenty of time on this Aegis to try to regain some semblance of map control for the side of Falcons.
A patient mid game from them, and now the payoff is massive.
And we're getting pretty close to some 25 talents as well.
Yeah, the Dawn is massive.
Yeah, exactly. The Starbreaker cooldown reduction -4 is pretty ridiculous.
Very, very strong one. The Lina 25, I guess, is not... I mean, the crit on targets affected by spells could tip the scales a little bit further against the Terrorblade.
Yeah. He's not that close to it at the moment, though.
No.
Level 22.
Some ways to go.
I am anticipating an eventual Ags for Yatoro. Being able to Swift Blink in, get a Fear, AoE Fear, is so powerful on this hero.
I think so, too. I definitely think that's got to be what's up next after this. Instead of replacing items, I think the Axe Synth would be nice here. Opted for the Sunder cooldown talent instead of meta duration. So, yes, 10-second cooldown on the Sunder.
Well, what do you need meta duration for if you're getting all that CDR anyway?
I mean, he can't reliably have meta all the time. If he had that talent, I think they could keep 100% uptime on meta, actually. But he's valuing this more because if he does play aggressively with the Blink and get a Sunder off, they have 10 seconds to kill him. It puts a lot of pressure on the enemy team to really need to execute flawlessly. And of course, also, if we get into a situation like the one before, where he uses the Sunder defensively on Dragon Knight first, he waits 10 seconds and then he goes and kills an enemy hero with the health he just lost. So, some interesting ideas here. Smoke coming out. Laurel, it's too late though. Falcons already got that wisdom, and they will know this now.
Yeah, Malrine's going to show himself, though. He does have the Aegis, of course. They're going to start out on him. Nullifier applied as well. There's the Snake King initiation with that Ice Pack, but the Lina's already dead. Life number 1 down. Macropyre already placed as well. The focus right now is on the Abaddon. Collapse is super healthy overall. Laurel ticking damage onto Skeeter. He eventually will die. They really want to get Coddle. Amar gets rooted instead into the dead shot. Double kill for Yatoro. And that is a 1 fight for Spirit.
Rue's Coddle playing that fight is like a highlight on its own. He's
just running around in circles all around Falcon members.
He kited Ember without dying for 20 seconds. And I completely understand and agree with Amar's play call here of targeting the Caudal.
Whoa.
Oh, okay.
Malrine?
He just ran down Malrine. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, because if you don't go on the Caudal, he's just too disruptive in these fights. So it's Emperor's job. It's very clearly premeditated that Amar's like, I will go and ruin Caudal's fight, but he still got off all his spells on Rue, kept his cool, used a nice Ogre Seal Totem, had 2 or 3 good Illuminates, got the blind off, and just tied it around Amar.
Second lane of racks is theirs. Malrine had to buy back. There's a buyback on the Skeeter as well, but not Amar. So at best case scenario for Falcons, it's going to be a 4 versus 5.
This has got to be
They
Megas,
have
right?
to defend. Can you win against Megas is the question.
Oh, they
Initiation
jump.
from Laurel, collapse, try to get this die back onto Malrine. At half HP, he's going to be fine. Skeeter buys back into the game. Fortification popped as well as the Manta dodge on the Laguna. Disgusting display. Collapse will pop the borrowed time in retreat. And with Ember coming back in 10 seconds, it looks like it's a full retreat from Team Spirit. Although I say that, the jump back in from Laurel, they're never done initiating apparently. Radon jumps in with that right click, with that metamorphosis. Skeeter kind of all alone right now as both Laurel and Collapse are chasing him down. They get the bash, but not going to go any further. Just want to get this building damage. Range Rax is dead, as Amar trying to do as much damage as he can to these retreating members of Team Spirit, but that is a full set of racks again, which means mega creeps for Team Spirit. They're going to lose the Abaddon, though, and Skeeter will continue on. They have to fight to the death here. Radon getting right click by Malrine. The buyback comes out, but can't get off the Sunder, so he goes down. Buyback is available, though. Falcons have to get more out of this. Maposhka, TP, successful. Track onto Rue, attempted TP onto the high ground, but they have the Searing Chains into the Lotus, so now they have the reflected everything, but still dies. Does not have buyback this time on Rue. Damage being done to the tier 4 towers by the creeps, but now you have to withstand these mega creeps, and I mean, you have to force buybacks if you're Falcons here.
Yeah, you need to get this Terrorblade forced out, but I don't know if they can realistically get there in time. They have no good waves that are connected. Spirit made sure to push in every single lane before they went for this high ground finish, and this 60 seconds Terrorblade timer is what it's going to take the wave to reach mid almost. If this gets killed by the Megas, the one that's coming in now, these 3 pitiful mid creeps dying, means the next wave gets delayed a further 15 seconds here, and
I mean, they're not even pushing.
They're not even trying, like, and I don't think they can. So
that's crazy.
You're gonna have to accept now that you're contending with Megas. The good news is Malrine is gonna hit that 25 we talked about, and he's close to a Divine Rapier. So we're in that territory now for Falcons where it's all in. I mean, why not, right? You already burnt your buyback, so there's no better item to buy for a chance at somehow
at eternal
this
glory, Cinderin.
Yep, that's right.
So Yatoro back in 10, and in terms of the buyback situation, only 3 in the game in general, but 2 of them are on the Falcon side, surprisingly. But Yatoro maintains his. So, in all likelihood, Team Spirit will want to wait this out for all the timers, all the gold that's needed for these eventual buybacks. Try to secure Roche, go for the eventual push down with the mega creeps helping out.
Spirit can just keep... It's so hard to play against Megas and Terrorblade together. It's like... It's kind of similar to the amount of map pressure you face when you're playing against Megas and Nature's Prophet, where you're just constantly forced to deal with stuff around the map.
Oh, it's Torment time.
Yeah. There's no shards. Oh, there is actually. They're going to get Fireball here.
Wow.
They'd rather get the gold, I think, but...
Well, they do get gold still, but
they
not
get
as
less
much.
gold.
Yeah. Divine Rapier online for Malrine, ladies and gentlemen.
He needs to not get jumped by Dragon Knight. That is alpha and omega right now for Falcons. Keep Malrine at distance. Allow him to attack. You gotta throw in bodies if necessary, just to make sure that he is not the first point of contact. Like that's the one way that Spirit just flat out instantly end, is if they kill
One issue with their lineup is they don't really have hard saves. They have the Dawnbreaker ult. They have things like Icebreaker that are Icebreaker. I was thinking Starbreaker and
Icebreaker is a facet chance, so it is in the game.
Yeah, you have the long range Ice Path from snaking, but
yeah, and the damage is too fast. Malrine doesn't have any armor item, and he doesn't have a Lincoln's or an Eon Disc, so if he were to get jumped by Terrorblade and Dragon Knight together, I think they 100 to 0 him.
Yep.
So you've got to be very wary of your positioning here on the Falcons side. And
so Rue only 250 gold away from having buyback. Now the question is, do you wait the full 4 minutes for the Abbey?
He has refresh.
It's also, yeah, he just bought something,
kill.
so he's 2k away now as well from the full buyback.
I mean, Abaddon with level 25 and refresher playing against.
Amar.
Oh, okay.
Well, he has the Aghanim Scepter now. Searing Chains onto the Coddle, getting really low, but Lotus is up. Ice Path comes in, locks them in place. The Starbreaker incoming from Skeeter.
Malrine's on the run.
Really couldn't find any good connection, though. And you got to worry about their base. The Mega Creeps are hitting it at the moment.
Yeah, they have
one
to get
tier 4 is dead.
One hero
Falcons
needs to get
have
back
to
now.
GTFO.
Yep. Abort mission. Very small moment of opportunity. They went for the try again on the Coddle, but they can't take him down.
They see Laurel, but he's not scared. He doesn't care. He's going to kill some Centaur creeps, apparently, in the meanwhile. Abyssal Blade. Do they have the control for Amar? He gets feared up. He gets silenced as well. He's dead. Buyback's still there, though. The tier 4s are done. You have basically nothing in your base now. It's Malrine. Really needing to find a connection with this Divine Rapier, but it was not to happen there, and this means Roche is a freebie. This is a Refresher Shard, Aegis. I don't know if they've been collecting Lotuses, Cinderin, but if they have been, then the block of cheese could be a reality. Actually not going for Ags on...
Oh, they are exactly doing that. Collapse went over for them now. You're right. Creating a block as we speak.
Oh, nice.
Well, trying to. Doesn't have enough space.
Oh, no. That's
There we go.
Always a problem.
All right.
Spirit going to push the envelope. They're going to force this buyback out of Amar, who's going to have to use it pretty damn soon. The Ancient is fully exposed. And Yatoro's Illusion starting to pound away. Can Falcon somehow defend? All eyes on Malrine Lina with that Divine Rapier. Buyback comes out. Spirit, not too bothered by it, though. Getting rid of all the extra vision that's at the disposal of Falcons.
Skitter buys a dagger. Last desperate measure here, trying to get to that back line.
Oh, Amar trying
Amar!
to backstab, and he gets bashed up. He is dead. That's a dieback. Malrine, we're watching you, my friend. He gets the Laguna Blade up along with the Recklings for Don. Can he get the Sunruff? No! He actually falls, but that's life number 1. Malrine now has to try to get back to the base, but they are way too fast, way too much CC as the GGs come out. Divine Rapier on the deck. Yatoro secures it for the glory of the post-game item inventory. As Spirit take this 2-0.